Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org, and yet another edition of What the Hell Really Happened? And if there was ever a day to ask the question, what the fudging malarkey's going on? Family-friendly show. The absolute hooey in what's happening today. It is today, as of course many rumors, fears, and speculation hit the internet after a series of events that left a lot of people very concerned. And that's why in this video we're going to talk about that, Donald Trump's favorite warhawk daughter, the misguidedness, saying this politely, of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a new secret society Bilderberg member gaining more authority and power, and even the stupid argument that's happening around sneakers right now, and hey, maybe even aliens. Now, before we begin, one of the ways that we exist to give you free content every single day with the latest breaking news is, of course, with cryptocurrencies. And one way that you and I could earn cryptocurrencies is through using the Brave browser. That, by the way, has already saved me 3.4 hours in time saved because of the ads blocked, as well as the trackers and efficiency of this browser that allows you to not only browse faster, but also be rewarded for your browsing with, of course, cryptocurrencies that rewards you for using it. And honestly, if you just start using something that, in my opinion, is a lot better than Chrome and Firefox, click the link down below. It's the first one in the description, because even though we don't have an official partnership with Brave, I'm just literally using an affiliate code that anyone can, but this is something that I like, and it doesn't cost you or me anything to use, and helps out everyone. Now, I woke up this morning with many of my journalist friends hitting me up saying that something is happening. This, of course, was because of many reports coming from Israel and also allegedly Fox News that the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence was summoned back to the White House after a New Hampshire trip was canceled because of a, quote, emergency. This was around the same time that Russian President Vladimir Putin canceled his entire schedule for the day. This, of course, all was happening as the European Union was already meeting, and of course gold was also on the rise, leaving me personally hoping that this was a situation involving aliens. And of course you would understand why if you would watch the previous What the Hell Really Happened news segment, which of course I will link in the description below, where of course we talked about the topic at the end of the video. Now we have the latest report from RT Russia Today saying that, quote, spokespeople for the Vice President and the White House said that there has been, quote, no emergency callback and that there was no cause for concern, and that the changes of plans were not related to Pence's health or that of President Donald Trump, they said, with, of course, no official explanation to why the trip was canceled. But, of course, that there is no genuine emergency happening. Just saying that something came up. Now, it's also important to state here that the European Union meetings were already scheduled and that gold did go up, but previously yesterday it did go down. All of this on the backdrop of millions of websites being knocked out because of major outages, which brought down many prominent websites for even as long as an hour and a half, with some websites being restored in, of course, also 30 minutes. That, along with also the latest revelations that 14 Russian sailors have died on a nuclear sub, made people, of course, fear the worst. Now, of course, there has been no radiation detected on, of course, this Russian deep submarine, and a lot of the information is, of course, still unknown, but the submarine has returned to, of course, a Russian naval base. Now, in this time, there also have been many military maneuvers, especially in the Black Sea, slight U.S. military movement. Now, of course, rightfully so, with all of this news correlated together, there was a lot of suspense, a lot of people correlating things, and a lot of people who were worried about the situation that's developed. And there are other situations that also have developed that we should be worried about, specifically the latest tensions that are escalating in, of course, the Middle East, as Israel came out with its foreign minister just moments ago saying that Israel is bracing for the military for the possibility of U.S.-Iranian escalations. This, of course, as we're getting other information right now from this journalist associated with Fox saying that there are 12 F-22 Raptors fighter jets that are allegedly in the position in the Persian Gulf. This is according, of course, to her. Still have not seen any independent sources on this particular incident. Israel also warned Iran today that it would be, quote, hit hard in war because Iran started to, of course, stockpile uranium again. And that Israel was, quote, even willing to act alone and attack Iran for doing this if they, quote, had to, with Iran, specifically Iranian's parliament's National Security Commissioner, coming out and threatening to destroy Israel within 30 minutes. If, of course, the United States decides to preemptively attack Iran. Now, even though Iran is not getting any major attention and play in, of course, our mainstream media, this is a very significant issue, not only because of the clash of civilizations between the Sunnis and Shiites in the Middle East that this conflict represents, especially with Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United States being on one side, but specifically more of a geopolitical situation that is very unassuring since, of course, on the other side, we have Iran, China, and Russia standing together against those forces that I just mentioned beforehand. A very uneasy situation with Russia, of course, backing Iran even on their surplus of uranium stocks, which, by the way, the Iranian foreign minister just tweeted that Iran is still implementing the Iran nuclear deal, which, by the way, Donald Trump scrapped, and will continue to do so as long as the European Union, quote, implements their economic commitments, which they promised to, of course, Iran, but the United States is threatening them not to do so. This, of course, creates a very unsure situation that does not look like it will be rectified with either party, of course, being satisfied. Other people are saying already that Iran has violated the Iran nuclear deal, which, but again, people don't understand here. Donald Trump scrapped the Iran nuclear deal, prevented the stockpile of uranium by Iran, which this whole entire situation is, of course, all about right now. Now, of course, the European Union is urging Iran to abide still by this nuclear pact, trying to, of course, salvage any deal here to make sure the escalations do not keep rising from this entire situation. And as I've been saying for a very long time, there doesn't look like there will be a compromise, and that this situation, especially with American foreign policy, especially with the situation geopolitically, will not be solved anytime soon, and sadly will only worsen from here. Now, in related news, connecting, of course, to the European Union, we are learning after meetings today that Germany's Ursula von der Leyen has been nominated to now lead the EU Commission. Now, what's really important about Ursula von der Leyen is that this is also the same individual who is a prominent member of the Bilderberg group that was recently confronted by, of course, this very news organization, along with other independent journalists like Dan Dix, Mac Bachman, and, of course, Josh Friedman. Now, of course, you could see this video and the confrontation on our YouTube channel from this year's Bilderberg coverage. And now, gee whiz, what a surprise that yet another Bilderberg member, after going to the meeting, is now rising up in more political power and influence. Gee, who would have thought that could have happened? And now moving forward in other related news to people who should not be in power, we of course have extremely cringy video coming, of course, from the French diplomatic team releasing a video of Ivanka Trump butting in, and you can see the body language here. It is very, very uncomfortable between the conversations of world leaders, including the IMF head, to, of course, a lot of their surprise. France even had to release a statement saying that it did not mean to embarrass Ivanka Trump with releasing what the week is calling a mortifying G20 video. And after that video and many other images coming of Ivanka even recently meeting North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And of course, a lot of this was met with criticism, with many people photoshopping Ivanka discovering the cure for polio, being pictured here with John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and of course, many other hilarious photos. And Ivanka Trump, even though she is only the daughter of Donald Trump and holds no official position in government, was at these meetings to, quote, talk about women's empowerment, cause that she has promoted since her father's 2016 presidential campaign. But most importantly, what needs to be understood here is the sheer amount of power and influence and role that Ivanka Trump is playing. That, by the way, this is even according to Donald Trump's own son, that it was Ivanka Trump's crying and, quote, being heartbroken, that was able to, of course, galvanize her dad, Donald Trump, to bomb the Syrian government. Of course, Ivanka is also married. Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's advisor, and a man who negotiated better deals for Saudi Arabian weapons. So a situation that, in my opinion, should be concerning to a lot of people, especially with her being on the center stage more and more. In a related topic with people who should have no authority, we of course have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez coming out after visiting a detention center on the U.S. border, saying that detained migrants told her that they were being told to drink out of toilets. She also came out and said saying that the camps were, quote, indefensible. Now, of course, her comments sparked a lot of debate between the left and right. Some people insinuated that when she talked about drinking from the toilet, it meant drinking from an attached sink, which many detention facilities and prisons have as part of a potable water system, which actually she responded to and said, yes, that these were the exact toilets in mention, but there was one of these units that was not functioning, that when the women tried to open the faucet and nothing came out, that they were allegedly told to drink out of the toilet bowl, which is pretty disgusting. Now, personally speaking, it's very difficult to take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez very seriously, since she did kind of frame this photo op session, which she released videos of just now, of her at a parking lot, which depicted photos of her breaking down and crying. And of course, this is an empty parking lot at a detention facility, but again, a lot of these issues were centered around her. She also compared a lot of the situations unfolding on the border with the detention facilities akin to concentration camps, which is hyperbolic and absolute insanity. It's also important to point out that there was a bill in the House that was approved by Nancy Pelosi that would fund a lot of these detention facilities and upgrade them to properly take care of the surging, rising numbers of illegal immigrants who are coming across the U.S. border, which Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez refuses to vote for and accept because, according to her, they do not do enough. But an emergency spending bill allocating $4.6 billion, with other lawmakers arguing that, quote, it has no provisions to ensure money goes to the children or that for-profit agencies are held accountable, as of course one of the reasons why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and many other lawmakers are not voting for, of course, this bill. Critics of her stance, like John Kennedy, a Republican lawmaker, say, quote, on the one hand, she says you are running a concentration camp, and then she refuses to provide the president with the money to enlarge the facilities, said Kennedy. And honestly, because of this and other stances, it's very difficult to take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez very seriously on this issue. Now, on this report of drinking out of toilets, there should be more investigations, there should be more proof, there should be something fully look into this and investigate, and something that should be strongly condemned and never allowed in our country. Now, of course, a lot of the actions and so-called solutions that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has towards this issue are pretty much nonsensical. There's many protests that she has demonstrated in. There's many protests still planned, with even just today 36 people being arrested, blocking the road to a immigration detention center. And if we go along by the proposal of what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants, if we're not going to be detaining people, are we going to be allowing them to cross the border illegally? Or are they going to be put in dangerous ways, making the very unsafe journey across the Rio Grande? If we allow a couple people in, more people are going to be incentivized to come in, which the Democrats are publicly talking about giving free education, free health care to. This is a huge initiative that, again, every solution that's being brought up by these individuals is absolutely nonsensical. If again, you let a few people in, more people will come. It's not a safe journey, but in the current situation we have, this absolutely makes no sense. And by not funding the detention facilities, of course, the situation is going to be disastrous in there. Of course, lack of funds to do it the right way. And honestly, it feels like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has taken advantage of the situation for, of course, her political aspirations. But again, that is just my opinion, and I could be completely wrong. And if you think I am, Let me know why in the description below. Again, the whole act of people grandstanding, trying to, of course, fake cry during these situations seems absolutely disingenuous. We have a chaotic mess on the border. We have a mess, and we have a situation that's only getting worse from here. I was on the border. I was in Tijuana. I saw it firsthand. This is a very complicated situation unfolding that neither the left or right have a full answer on, and they are making the situation worse because they can't get over themselves and their aspirations of power rather than, of course, deal with the issue from a humane perspective. If you look at illegal immigration, there's many arguments, legitimate ones, that we made on this channel against the left and of course against the right. It's a human issue that is a very nuanced issue. It's a very gray issue. And these people are hell-bent on making it black and white because that is what is going to work out for them personally as egotistical individuals who are there supposedly to represent you. In reality, they're just acting like children who can't get past their ego to actually solve a problem and do the right freaking thing. And it's stupid, and people are suffering for this, and I blame both of the parties. What's your take on it? I am very curious to get your feedback, especially if you think I am wrong. I always look forward to criticism because it's really the only way to grow, understand, and learn from this entire chaotic, unfolding mess that we are all involved in. And that's why we do what we do for you here on WeAreChange.org. Thank you again so much for watching. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more.